Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Alan Print Up This Truth. And the shutdown continues. I don't know what in the hell the Democrat Party is thinking they were going to accomplish with asking for $1.5 trillion in additional spending with a whole bunch of different programs was going to accomplish. Or if they thought that the Republican Party would somehow cave in all this. It's now 22 days. Today's October 23rd, so 22 days ish into the shutdown, and well, there's a few Democrats that have broken with their caucus to side with the Republicans and getting everything open and back up for business, get the doors open and get everybody back to work that are still left, because we all know the president's been making some cuts. So I'm trying to wrap my head around what the Democrat Party is getting at here. Are they trying to give the president, enough, to sink himself that they could use in the midterm election? That by the shutdown, he was letting people go and eliminating different programs. I still fail to see where the Democrats think that the shutdown would give them any edge whatsoever. The Republican Party has way too much momentum. The administration is having far too much success. They're really riding the high point of a wave. The Republican Party and the presidential administration are right now. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around what the Democrats are doing, what their thought process is in all this. Because one thing I've come to learn over my adult life is the Democrats are party first. So they've got to have some reason that's beneficial to them for doing this. And I heard the speech with Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, say this is the first time in history that a party, has not voted for a clean, nonpartisan CR and have chosen to shut down the government. And I've got some of the highlights here. I'm going to throw them up on the screen. The Democrats' $1.5 trillion demands for opening the government are thus: $200 billion in health care benefits for illegal aliens. Now that's the previous they had previously voted for an expiration date of these certain subsidies within the Obamacare, and those are set to expire, and they're wanting to continue those. Well, that's an item you discuss for the budget, not a CR. Repeal of the $50 billion funding for rural hospitals. I've got family that live in rural America. I don't think that's wise because hospitals are few and far between out there. Permanent COVID subsidies without reforms. What? Didn't COVID magically disappear as soon as Joe Biden got into office? Boy, the pharmaceutical industry made a killing off of that, didn't they? $500 million for liberal news outlets. Why is the United States government subsidizing the media? I guess because all the major legacy media outlets are starting to hemorrhage cash, some more so than others, because just the tide has turned, and the majority of people are not getting their news from legacy media outlets anymore. They're getting it from independent journalists, podcasters, and the such. I used to read the paper every day. I ain't done that in 15, 20 years. I stopped watching the news 15 years ago, and just getting little snippets and highlights, via the internet, whatever popped up on the screen, when I logged on, or I went and searching for my sports highlights or my weather for the day. Outside of that, I really didn't give a shit about house fires and car wrecks. Let's see here. What else? $4 million for global LGBTQI plus awareness campaigns. Really? $4 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans. What? Why? $2 million for feminist democratic principles in Africa. Well, I don't think that's the best thing for Africa. Best thing for Africa, one, is to end slavery. Two is to end dictatorships over there. There's some ruthless regimes in Africa that are really hurting their people. That needs to stop. Africa might need, more irrigation, more electricity, more clean water. They might need more infrastructure. They might need more agriculture, more medicine, more schools. I think there's a lot of things on the list of what Africa might need more than $2 million for feminist democratic principles. And where in Africa are we talking about? Are we talking about in Egypt? Are we talking about in South Africa? Are we talking about where in Africa? So that's 250, 700, that's 250 billion. So this isn't even all of it. This is just a snippet. 250 billion, then we got 500 million. Yeah, this isn't even a third of everything that they're asking for. There's just some snippets. So yeah, that's a whole lot of stuff that can be discussed and hashed out for a budget when they go through the allocation and appropriation process there. I don't think it's a good idea giving money for sexuality. I don't. Sexuality shouldn't be a thing. It really shouldn't. Just because you're non-heterosexual doesn't. Why do we need to give money for that? I don't understand it. And I'm happy to learn and understand if somebody would like to educate me. It's not that I don't like people. I do. Um, I just don't understand. What some of this spending is ridiculous. I think during the USAID there was money for circumcisions in other countries and a whole laundry list of things that just made you go, what? So I don't know, Congress controlling the purse, it might not be a bad idea for some checks and balances on that. I've always been in the position of, clean bills. So, like, if we pass a particular bill, we can't have a whole bunch of trash jumping on top, earmarks, pork, whatever you want to call it, a bunch of riders, backpackers, hitchhikers, whatever you want to call the other little add-ons. They have no chance in passing as a bill on their own merit that they've got to piggyback on something else. We normally called like a partisan wish list. Yeah, I don't think that should be part of our foreign spending. I really don't. The LGBTQI plus and what was that other one? Feminist principles in Africa. Africa needs a lot more than that. Infrastructure being one of them. Getting rid of the dictators over there, the warlords. Stop the brutalization of the people. Ending slavery in Africa because it's still going on. I think I heard somewhere that there's more slaves currently in Africa than all of the Atlantic slave trade historically combined. So still a big issue. So yeah, but back to another item I saw is that, and I spoke about this previously, is that the shutdown, they would not end it before the No Kings march, protest, rally thing on Saturday, and I have it from a very reliable source that $300 million was spent to promote that movement on Saturday nationwide. Even we had those protests were going on everywhere, and I've got to go dig it up and find the list. I know there's a list out there. I just got to go find it. $300 million ish was spent funding these protests. So they didn't happen organically. Organically is half a dozen people ending up on a street corner with signs. That's organically. Something that big, that doesn't happen organically. That doesn't. And there's receipts for it. So I'll find them before the next video and talk about it. It's some of these things that our government is doing. It just makes me shake my head, especially the Democrat Party right now. Their favorability keeps going down. Gavin Newsom was up for a while. Now he's down. Not very popular. Then you had a Katie Porter. I think she was over there to make him look good. But the biggest story, for governors right now is Zoran Mom Mamdani. I think I'm saying it right. And he's, from the polls that I've seen, he's projected to win that state by a lot. And I'm surprised at that. I really am, because there's a lot of things coming out about him with the company that he was keeping back in the 90s when the World Trade Center had a bombing back in the 90s. So, and some of the things that he said is that I heard on the news earlier. I was in the truck. It was on the radio. That he's wanting to close Rikers Island, and what was said was release the prisoners back out on the streets. And I know that that's got to be false. And I tried doing some fact checking, and what he was meaning was the 5 boroughs. Jail these offenders that are in prison, state prison, in the jails in the 5 boroughs. I'm like, what? They're in prison for a reason. Too much for the jail to handle that type of criminal. So, yeah, and also is being reported that taxes are going to go up to 52% on the income tax to fund a lot of the stuff that he's talking about. And I'm in the real estate industry. I get a lot of clients from the Northeast, from the Midwest, that are buying second homes or retiring here or buying a vacation home. And if this continues going that way, I think we're going to see even more expat, more people leaving New York that have the means to do so, and going to more favorable states like Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida. And there's a number of agents within my office that are actually from New York, and they get a considerable amount of business from New York. I've had my fair share. Right now, I've got people from the Midwest coming down next month. I've got several groups of those. So it's not uncommon, and I think that's going to accelerate it. And I don't think it's going to go good. And I don't want to see New York turn into another California where, the wealth starts leaving the state. That's going to create even more problems like it is in California. So, shutdown, I think the Democrats, what was it, quote unquote, fearing the guillotine. Yeah, I would imagine that there's some Democrats that fear getting elected out during the upcoming election. And well, and I have no problem with that with any party. I think there should be term limits there, anyways. Some of these persons have been there way too long on both parties. You got Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, Senator Grassley, just to name a few. Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, Steve Cohen. I'm from Memphis. Steve Cohen really hadn't done shit, a damn thing for his district in Memphis. It's still a shithole. And he still gets elected. I don't understand it. But yeah, I don't. I'd really like some insider knowledge on what the Democrats thought they were going to achieve with the shutdown. The Republicans got way too much momentum to give in and cave on anything. So the Democrats might as well just sit back and just lick their wounds, because until they regain control of the House or the Senate or the presidency or all three, that's what exactly we're going to be doing. And I don't even know what the damn Democrats are standing for anymore, what they're fighting for. You used to be more clearly defined, and now I'm just, they're fighting against the things that make lives better. Now, if you disagree with me, that's fine. But when you step outside the box, looking in with a very objective lens, what's going on now is actually good for the country. It really is. We've had a lot of not good for this country in terms of leadership this century. We started this century with poor leadership, followed up by more poor leadership. Got decent leadership, but had a 4-year coup. Then lack of leadership, and now we got decent leadership again. And I never thought I would be as supportive of Donald Trump as I am. I definitely don't like his mouth, but I get he's got this personality. Should give him an award for the most creative comb over. Anyways, squirrel. But he is strong in what he's doing. He's a CEO, and I spoke about the corporate structure of the United States government in the last video. And it's what we need right now. It really is. This country financially and socially are about to go belly up, and we need somebody to right the ship. And it's like a deep tissue massage. It hurts like hell. It's not pretty, but we're going to be better off for it. We really are. And yeah, I'm not happy about the shutdown. I'm not at all. I was on the phone with the Marine earlier. I wanted to bring it up, but I didn't, because he was busy. I was busy. We had a little business to talk about, and we didn't have time for pleasantries or off-topic, conversation. But I'll catch up with him in a couple days. So what's next on the list? We talked about the shutdown, Zoran Mamdani. I'm bad at names, butchering names. Zoran, the guy running for whatever in New York. That's how important he is to me. Yeah, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, the ballroom. I've been seeing a lot of that over the past couple of days. How people are starting to lose their minds that the president, through private funding, is building a big, beautiful ballroom where the East Wing was, or going to be with it, because he's taking destruction to it, and and I saw Hillary Clinton. It's the people's house. It's not your house. I'm like, really? Because there's more square footage that's not the original White House than is the original White House. What about when the East Wing, West Wing were added? What about the second floor when the West Wing was added? What about the Oval Office when it was added? What about the swimming pool that was put in? What about it when it was filled in? What about the basketball court? What about the tennis court? What about the bowling alley? What about the total rehab of the interior? What about the adding of the 4th floor residence up on top? There's plenty of work that's been done to this property in the past 250 years, aside from getting burnt up in, what was it, 1812? So it's a building. Buildings have lifespans, and you've got to do stuff to them to get them to last to the ages, because we don't build like the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Romans. We ain't got that type of skill. So we got to touch our stuff and keep it up to date. And why would we not want to have a big event space, ballroom, whatever you want to call it, to host large state events? We saw President Trump when he was in the UK. See the size of that dining room table that everybody sat on? There's 200 guests around that table. That takes some room. And any president is going to enjoy this space when they hold state events. They might hold the White House Correspondents' dinner there. That's big enough for that. What if a future president has a son or a daughter that gets married and has a White House wedding? That'd be perfect. So there's a lot of applications for it, and it's a great addition. Now, I do say that President Trump is a bit ostentatious in his design styling. There's a lot of design stylings and finishes that I do like that he does. He just overuses gold. He does. I like what he did to the Oval Office. It's a bit much. It's a little heavy. He could scale some of that back. But that's the only thing I've got against his design styling is his overuse of gold. Gold definitely has a place in elegance and in luxury, but you can, just like anything else, it can be too much. Just like wallpaper, it's got its place, and it can be too much. I've seen people take a certain style of decorative tile and use it way too much in a house, where if it had been a little accent wall area, would have been fantastic. But when you go out on a line, it's all the way around. Then you go in and it's one whole wall of a den, and then around the island, and then primary bath and showers. Like, wow, why don't they just build the house out of this tile? So yeah, there's finishes. It's too much, and the gold is one of them. But hey, that event space, I think that's going to be a really good thing. It's going to be a really good thing for them, for future presidents to enjoy. Now, they do have a budget to redecorate the White House. Every president and first lady does when they move in. That they have a budget to redecorate it in their own stylings. There are areas that cannot be touched. If he tried to do this to like the Lincoln bedroom, he would not be able to do that. That's just historical preservation. There are areas of that building, of that compound, that he cannot touch like that at all. So just know that he's not going to take down history like other people I know that were taking down history over the years. Good or bad, doesn't matter. If you want to attribute these statues to slavery, then why aren't you leaving the Democrat Party? It was founded by a slave owner. Why aren't you denouncing that and having them taken off the $20 bill? I don't get it. I don't. So Democrats, I'd like to know what you stand for. Like, I grew up Democrats in the family, Republicans in the family. I'm a true center line independent, but now I lean conservative. I don't lean conservative. Conservative just washed over me while I was just standing in place. I just got encapsulated by conservatism, because the Democrats just went that way and kept going. I'm like, hey, we're over here. And they just kept going. Hello. So I digress. Democrats, I want to know what the hell's going on with you guys. I have no clue what you stand for. And I don't want to point names and name fingers or anything like that. But I don't know if you just like stirring stuff up, or if you're down with the corruption in the pocket lining. I don't know, because what you're screaming about right now is not going to win you an election. It's not. You've got to win independents, and most independents are leaning to the right, and they're not going to be down with that. So I ain't going to try to tell you how to run your party, and the Republicans were smart, they wouldn't say a damn thing about it and just let you keep digging your own hole. But you do you, boo-boo. Now I'll be over here just watching and talking about it and hopefully not embarrassing myself too much. And there's plenty of people in the government that I'd like to poke fun at, but I'm not. I don't need to do that. I'm better than that. I tell my kids to be the change you want to see in the world. And if you want people to quit talking and being mean to other people, well then, be the example, take the lead on that. And when I think about my upbringing, it makes me want to poke fun at a former politician and on how they were raised. And it's too easy to make fun of this person, and it's just not nice. Even though it is in jest, I don't need to partake in that kind of behavior. But yeah, the shutdown needs to get done. One question I've got is Congress working on the budget while they're doing this shit? They know that the Republicans are not going to negotiate anything on this CR. It's clean. Are we working on a budget? Because we're getting close to time for the budget to be ready. So Congress, you're disappointing me. Democrats, you're disappointing me. But just keep going down this hole, Democrats. Keep going down the hole. You'll figure it out sooner or later. I'm sure you will, but you've got to get y'all got a lot of toxicity within the party that y'all don't even know how to deal with. Don't be afraid to say no to your party, not just Republicans. But yeah, not a whole lot that I wanted to talk about today. That was pretty much the long and the short of it. And we'll see how things go. If I misstated anything, please let me know. Drop it in the comments and we can talk about it. Until next time, I'm Alan Print Up for This Truth. Be well.